Watch Olivia Stearns. All right, listen up, gamers. It is Friday, which means you've only got 60 hours to play the new Xbox One. It was released today before you have to go back to work on Monday at 9 a.m. Cloud computing, also a major component of Microsoft's Xbox One, as well as the PlayStation 4 from Sony. That came out last week. For more on how the cloud affects the world of gaming, I'm joined now by Todd Haselton. He is the executive director of TechnoBuffalo. I'll tell you what that is. And Eric Mandl, he is the senior managing director for Evercore's corporate advisory business. And Eric has advised companies that include IBM, Dell, KKR. He was also the lead advisor for the cloud computing company Tier 3 during their recent sale to CenturyLink. Gentlemen, good to have you with us. Thanks for coming in. Todd, I want to start off with you because you did bring an Xbox One.
I did. I brought one.
Have you been playing one?
All day long.
All day long. And are you hooked?
I'm hooked. And you know what? I was trying to find out. I'm one of the guys that's in between. I've owned both systems in the past. So now I'm like, which one do I get to start with? PlayStation 4 is out of stock, though. So Xbox One, a little easier to get right now today. And I think the launch games are pretty compelling for me. And I really like how it takes over the entire living room. You got Skype right there. I called my boss today. I was like, how do I look? Looks amazing. So I think it's really well done so far.
When you say it takes over the whole living room, does that also mean that it watches your every move and is able to determine what the furniture
put on
is?
our tinfoil hats and worry about
it. But isn't there a camera?
Yeah, certainly. But that's for interacting with gamers, for Skyping with family members. And you can actually play games. There's a fitness game that's really cool out right now. So it's watching you for your body movements to interact with games, not so much, you know, keeping track of what you're doing.
Eric, is this enticing you at all? Do you think maybe an Xbox One is in your future?
An Xbox One has been pre-ordered by me already. A PS4 as well. I'm just like Todd. I really want to push these devices to the limit. I think about this, oddly enough, purely from a technology perspective.
Okay.
What type of engagement are we really going to get from the user? And the thing that's so fascinating for me is that be it Microsoft or Sony or the cable companies, the whole goal has been how do you get people to engage in the home to do everything that they usually do with multiple devices. And humbly, I actually think this may be the first set of devices where there's an ability to integrate technically what you're watching. Can you watch something together with a family member that's in a different city? I think the integration of Skype in high definition, 1080p, to be able to
What is 1080p?
So 1080p is basically a certain protocol in high definition that allows the crispest of crisp when you're speaking to one another on Skype. And Skype is a real leader in that. Skype is owned by Microsoft. They bought that in the last few years. And what we've seen recently from a demographic perspective is that people love to use their devices while they watch television. One of the most tweeted events was the season finale of Game of Thrones last season. So the notion of a device that allows you to interactively watch something, share information, and talk about it while it's happening is a lot more than a gaming device, in my opinion, and I think that's what makes it so fascinating.
I think that's what's compelling, too, is that when you have the PlayStation 4, you have a device that's really core gamer-specific. Xbox One isn't so much that type of device. It's about watching TV while you're playing games, doing all kinds of things instead of just gaming, and I think that's why it's going to be appealing to a wider audience, even at that little higher price point, $100 more than the PS4.
Todd, any chance that this is just going to add to the distraction factor in life and that no one's going to talk to anybody ever again in real life?
Certainly, but you know what? I think these connect us more in a lot of ways, because if you can simply just call up somebody on Skype while you're in front of your TV anyway, watching TV, why not do that? Because otherwise you're like, oh, hold on, I'm watching TV, I'm not going to pick up the phone right now.
Oh my goodness, you'd actually do one thing at one time. So just give us an example, run us through what can you do on the Xbox?
So one of my favorite things, we were just talking about this offset, is speaking to it. So you say Xbox Home, it takes you home. While you're playing a game.
What does that mean when you say take me home?
It takes you, so say you're in a game, you're playing a game, and you're like, wait a minute, I want to go watch TV. Say Xbox Home, shoot you the home screen, and it's a lot like, for example, Siri on an iPhone, where you're issuing voice commands. It does that. You could say Bing, and then say, what's the Brooklyn Nets score? Brings up the score for you. So that's really cool, and you're not typing anything. It's all voice commands.
Now, you said the word Bing, and see, I'm going to pick up on that because it also has to do with where all this information is stored and how it connects to the cloud, which is a euphemism really for the storage systems that exist all over the world that you're connecting to, because this device, while powerful, it's not storing everything, right? You're reaching out and you're making a call for things.
Actually, it's storing very little. There is some resident local storage on the device, but the thing that's so wonderful about, and it's true for the PS4 as well, is that there is an ability to access a mountain of data, a mountain of content like we never have before as human beings. So
because it's all on the internet, and in fact, in this case, they use Bing, which is the Microsoft search engine, too.
So Bing is the search engine, and even behind that, here's a very interesting stat. The Xbox One is going to use 10 times the server power, compute power, and storage as the Xbox 360.
10 times.
10 times. So if we think generationally,
so in 6 years, it's 10 times.
Right. I mean, this is meteoric when you think in terms of data. And the fact that is most interesting to me when you even take a step back and you think about enterprise IT, the data center right now currently runs most compute that is desktop oriented. So you'll access the data center for an instruction that an enterprise is using. Because of devices like the Xbox One, the PS4, all of the tablets, all the mobile devices we use, in the next 5 years, many third-party research firms are estimating that over 2/3 of all data center traffic will serve the cloud. So that means that almost 70% of all access to data is not happening at the place you're sitting at. It's actually happening in the cloud.
If it's happening in the cloud, then bets against companies that are not going to benefit from that would be a potentially good thing. Earlier today, we heard Stanley Druckenmiller saying that IBM is a stock he doesn't necessarily think is going to benefit from all of this because it's all going to move to the cloud. You don't need big iron, as they describe.
You know, I'm a little bit more bullish on tech, not just because I do M&A in
but
tech.
it means you're going to be busy.
We're going to be very busy. And IBM, since you happen to mention those guys, they bought a great company just recently this year, a company called SoftLayer. The entire modus operandi of the company is to focus on the cloud. So even CenturyLink, as we just mentioned, bought it. So there are a whole host of businesses that can fill gaps. And I'm a little more bullish on the legacy players because I think the thing that we forget is some of these legacy players still have the best footprint in the data center that are running all of these servers. And it's going to be very, very hard for anybody to unseat them, even if the cloud continues to move as we see it has.
Todd, are you a legacy player when it comes to actually playing the game? What's your favorite game, and how much does all this cost?
Well, you're looking at, we'll go to the cost first. You're looking at $499 for the Xbox.
So $500 for the Xbox.
$500,
yeah?
But that comes with the Kinect, and that means you get the video camera right away for the cool Skype calls.
Oh, okay, all right.
I don't know why we're going so much to Skype, but it's really fun. And then you go back to the PS4, that's $100 less, but then you have to buy the camera on top of it, which is another $59. So you're still actually saving a bit of money. Now, when we're going to favorite games, I'm actually a big fan of EA's Battlefield games, and Battlefield 4 is out, but it's out for both consoles, so sort of you could go either way if you like the Battlefield.
Now, you had said earlier at the very beginning that you were like an in-between kind of person. What does that mean? Is that an age group? Is that a demo?
Right. No, I like both systems, and I grew up on all of these systems, so I've owned a lot of them, and so when new ones come out, I'm like, which way do I want to go? And actually, there's a big joke, but all the fanboys, right, they call them fanboys, you kind of you go together, so if you all gamed on Xbox 360 together, they're looking at the Xbox One, naturally, they're all going to go that way. Unless for some reason someone's like, yo, guys, we got to go over here and get the PS4 instead.
So if someone wants to play against you, how do they do that? If they don't know you, they just see you, they hear you now.
So when you go onto a game, right, and my name is Hazy Todd Online.
Hazy Todd Online.
Todd Haselton, I just reversed it. But and then someone could add that gamer tag and join a game with me, or you're in a match and say you're on a winning team and you guys you see each other on the list, and you can become friends, and then you can play in matches together in the future.
I'm going to think about that.
But usually it's
Hazy Todd.
It's college buddies that I play with still online, so.
Can we just call you Hazy Todd from TechnoBuffalo?
Sure.
Todd Haselton, thanks very much for joining us from TechnoBuffalo. My thanks also to Eric Mandl joining us from Evercore. Coming up, we're going to hear what Bill Ackman has to say about housing and Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. Plus today,